I think it's about time we talked about Paul Reed Smith guitars again. What's up everyone, Zach Seif here. Back in 2021, I posted a rather controversial video about Paul Reed Smith guitars, which if you haven't seen yet, I highly recommend you watch that first before continuing the rest of today's video, because I'm going to be referencing that quite a bit. Basically, in that video, I discussed my disappointment in the quality of American-built core PRS guitars at that time. They are a guitar company based out of Stevensville, Maryland, here in the US, and they are known for making some of the greatest guitars that money can buy. During the pandemic, I didn't get a chance to use that guitar too much, and by the time I got out in 2020, I was already noticing a couple things about the guitar that I was kind of disappointed in. Basically, I felt like it wasn't worth the price that I had paid for it. Now, back then, these guitars were selling new for about $34.99, and nowadays they're closer to $45.99. I honestly don't think that they justify an additional $1,000 price increase over the past 5 years, because I just don't think they hold up that well. And today I'm going to go over why that is, but also why I kind of went and bought another one, but for a completely different reason. So just to kind of reiterate and summarize what that initial video was about, it was the fact that the new finish just does not hold up on the road. I mean, if I literally touched the guitar, the finish was cracking, chipping, denting, or breaking. And I am super careful with my guitars live because I play between 60 and 100 shows a year, and I don't want my guitars to look like they've been dragged through the mud everywhere. And the level of band that I play with is on the higher end of things. So not only do I want them to hold their visual appeal for a guitar that costs between $3,000 and $5,000, you'd like to think that it'll look new for as long as possible, but also for the level of gig that I play. I mean, these days I'm only doing high-end weddings for the most part. My equipment has to fit the look of a wedding band that you're paying several figures for. So after one touring season, I noticed that not only chunks of wood were missing from the back of the guitar for God knows whatever. It's not like it's buckle wear, because I wear my guitar up pretty high and there's always a shirt covering a belt if I'm wearing a belt live. But the frets were completely shot. Hardware was tarnishing super fast, and just didn't really appreciate the fact that a guitar that I spent over $3,000 on was in worse condition than the other American-made guitars that I was also touring with at the time and had an equal or greater number of hours put on them. That and the fact that these guitars still use nickel frets. I'm sorry, but stainless steel frets are just better in every single way because they last infinitely longer than regular nickel frets, which means less repair costs and time have to be put into that guitar as you use it over the years. And of course, everything at PRS is done to Paul's specifics. So if he believes a certain combination of parts and components are going to be better for a guitar, that's what they use. And trust me, he's a phenomenal builder. There's a reason why the top 3 guitar brands when it comes to electric instruments these days are Fender, Gibson, and PRS. He carved out a spot for himself back in 1985, and the company has only exponentially grown ever since then, and he's an absolute genius, and I am not disrespecting him or his work at all. I'm just stating, from a consumer and professional musician, I would like to see these changes be implemented in the future. With all of that out of the way, that brings us to today's video, where I'm holding this guitar that you guys haven't seen yet, and it's because I just got it last week. This is a one-off PRS Custom 24 with the private stock eagle on the headstock and a super sick finish. So why would I be holding this guitar today if I completely swore off of buying brand new PRS guitars? Well, that's exactly why I have this guitar today. It's because I did not buy it new. I bought this guitar knowing what I was getting into, and there's a specific reason why I bought it, which I'll get into later. I wanted to go over why I'm revisiting this guitar and why this specific Custom 24 is now in my arsenal. It has the traditional flame maple top, the mahogany neck, which is pattern thin. It has a beautiful East Indian rosewood fretboard with these beautiful abalone bird in flight inlays on it, and the new 8515 TCI pickups, which are specifically tuned for the instrument. Other than that though, it just kind of looks like a regular Custom 24, but it's the fact that it has the eagle inlay instead of the PRS logo on it. For those of you who are not too familiar with PRS guitars, their private stock is basically their custom shop, and that's typically the only way that you get this logo. But after reaching out to PRS and talking to a couple legitimate experts on PRS guitars, whether they were dealers, collectors, or people who work for PRS directly, they verified that this is indeed a legitimate one-of-one PRS Custom 24. And with my new band, Rumble City Records, we're playing a ton of music from the 90s and 2000s that was originally recorded on PRS guitars. Creed, Linkin Park, Stained. PRS guitar plugged into a Mesa amplifier or similar high-gain boutique amp is the sound of 90s and 2000s rock. But overall, I'm very happy with how this guitar plays, sounds, feels, and most importantly, inspires me to play. That's the reason why I wanted to make today's video, is to show you that even though on paper, this wasn't my ideal instrument initially, given my history and past experience with PRS guitars, this is the guitar that I've been grabbing first every day since I got it. And it just allows me to access different sounds and emotions that my other guitars don't quite give to me or speak to me in the same way. Additionally, these TCI pickups are probably some of the best pickups I've ever heard. It allows you to have a really full, warm, almost slightly more aggressive PAF sound in the bridge that's not super modern sounding, but has enough output and power to respond well to all styles of playing. And the neck pickup in particular has a very jazzy sound to it. It's very different from the high output pickups that my Music Man guitars have. This does not sound anything like that. And for the jazz up tops that we tend to do, I feel like this guitar does that thing a lot better than any of the other guitars that I have. So it justifies a spot in my arsenal because it sounds different, plays different, feels different. And part of that also has to do with the fact that it is a 25-inch scale length. So where the pickups sit is going to be different from a traditional 25.5-inch scale length electric guitar. That's going to wrap up today's video. I just kind of wanted to reflect on that video that I made a couple years ago. It's my #1 video by far. It has about double the amount of views as my second place video, and the comment section is very heavily divided. Again, I don't make videos for clickbait engagement or to enrage people in any way, shape, or form. I made that video because I felt that my purchase was not worth what it cost me. And I want to just make that video as a PSA for anyone who is looking at a new PRS guitar. Yeah, they're still using nickel frets. Yes, they switched from poly to cab over nitro, and now they're all nitro cellulose. So the guitar finish is a lot more fragile and will wear more easily than an older PRS guitar will. And just to let people know that they've gone up in price by about $1,000. So would I have bought this brand new for $4,500 to $5,000? No, I do not believe that this guitar is worth the retail price that's put on it. But on the secondary market, you can find these around $3,000 or less. And for what I ended up paying for this guitar, I think it was absolutely worth it. It was the most that I was willing to spend on a guitar with this specific spec. So the main thing that I hope you get out of this video is that there's definitely a threshold when it comes to purchasing an instrument where you have to consider what your use case is for it and what the intended use case is for it. There's the joke that PRS guitars are for doctors and lawyers because they don't play the guitar as much as a regular gigging musician might, and therefore they can drop several thousand more dollars than the rest of us on something just because it looks nicer on their wall. But there are clearly thousands and tens of thousands of people touring full-time with PRS guitars that, you know, they look beat up, they look like they're toured with, and that's really cool for a certain kind of musician. But again, for what I do, which is all higher end stuff, I take very good care of my tools because I need them to last me a long time, and I need my tools to reflect not only the quality of the work that I do, but also the look of the band that I am performing with. So take all that for what you will. Feel free to let me know how wrong I am in the comment section, or maybe you actually agree with me. Regardless, if you enjoyed this video, please take 2 seconds, just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything but that single mouse click, and in return it helps this video get shown to more musicians just like yourself. Until next time, everyone, keep on following your dreams.